Plaintiff Anthony Smith says one night he was parked in his friend's driveway when the defendant came out and asked him to move. Anthony claims the defendant pounded on his window and startled him, and then the defendant chased him down the street and punched out his window with his bare hands. He's suing for an insurance deductible. Defendant Christopher Lutz says the only reason Anthony was in that driveway that night was because he was trying to sell a bag of marijuana. Christopher admits that he and Anthony got into a verbal argument, and then Anthony chased him in the car and tried to run him over. So he punched the car to keep Anthony from coming at him.
Prove your case.
Let me start by saying I don't even know Christopher Lutz. This is the third time I've seen him, resulting from an incident that happened on June 1st, 2009. Basically, I was in the driveway waiting for my friend to return from a party. Christopher Lutz ran up on my car, banged on my window about 3-4 times, cursed at me and told me to get out of the driveway.
What driveway were you in?
Oh, my friend's driveway. There was a driveway in between two houses. They share a driveway.
Okay.
So I was in that driveway.
Go ahead.
Blocked him in, and he wanted to get out. I told him that I would move, don't touch my car. He proceeded to open my door, which startled me, freaked me out. I closed my door, locked it, and I flicked him off, like freaking out, scared. Because in Clifton, I don't know if you're familiar with Cincinnati, it's a college town, but anything could happen. It was around 2 a.m., you can get robbed, whatever. Basically, I started to move out of the driveway. At this point, him and his witness started banging, kicking on my car. The street that I was on was fairly narrow, so it took me about a minute and a half to maneuver my way out. The whole time that I was maneuvering out, these guys were kicking, banging on my car, doing whatever they could to demolish it. Finally, I get into the street, get out of the driveway. Christopher Lutz chases me down and punches out my window. I drove to my friend's house, got a few of my friends.
Punched it out how?
He punched it out.
With his hand?
With his hand.
Let me hear from him thus far, sir.
Sir. All right, let me start out by saying that he was parked in the driveway, turns out, not to pick his friend up, but he was there to sell a bag of marijuana.
What? How do you know?
Because he told me this later on in the evening. We were accidentally put in the same holding cell.
That's a lie.
When I came up on his car, he said I startled him. He said he was paranoid because he was high as a kite. So I proceeded to knock on the window and ask him to move his car. I said, will you pull up and park? There's 5 parking spots. So he shoos me off, and I'm like, okay, he won't roll his window down. I knock on his window again. I'm being polite. I said, hey man, will you please move your car back out in the street? He then proceeds to flip me the bird. I'm like, okay. My friends at the top that were gonna be driving are like, hey man, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know, he won't move his car. I knock on the window a 3rd time, as he said. I say, look man, move your car. That's when he proceeds to do this, gives me the cutthroat sign, is like, nah. So I'm like, okay. So, right now we're starting to get a little heated. It's a verbal altercation, and people are, starting to come out of their house. They're like, what's going on? And
Makes sense.
I realize I'm not getting anywhere with this. We'll just have to wait till he moves. I don't know why he's parked there. So I flick him off too, and I make myself about 3 steps ahead of the car, and that's when I hear the Dodge Magnum that he was driving be put into drive, and he comes barreling at me like a maniac. I hop out of the way, avoid it. He puts the car in reverse, backs down the driveway, re-angles it. This is how I know he wasn't just trying to get in or out. He re-angles it and comes like towards the house, perpendicular with the house. I hop out of the way a 2nd time, I'm freaking out, I'm startled, I don't know what's going on. And that's when Andy, he kicked the other side of the door trying to keep him, trying to deter him from what he's doing. So
he kicked the passenger side of a car while it was moving?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
So then I hop over, there's a stone ledge, so I hop over the ledge, and as I do, Anthony's keeping pace with me, flooring down the driveway in reverse like a madman, and then I get down on the sidewalk, he puts the car in drive a 3rd time, angles it at me, there's a telephone pole right behind me, a red Cavalier to my right, I remember like it was yesterday, and he comes flying up on the sidewalk, cuts off my path, and I'm cornered, and it's the knee-jerk reaction. I did swing, and I punched the window. I didn't even think about it. It wasn't premeditated. It was strictly reaction. Takes off down the street like a madman.
So your point is you couldn't get away?
Yes, sir. Well, at first, I may have been able to run, but I was startled. I'm freaking out. A car's trying to come at me.
You don't know what to do when the car's coming at you?
I hop out of the way like
right.
I understand what you're saying, Your Honor. I was just startled.
But you were able to move?
To the side, and that's when he came at me again. And
And you weren't able to move when he came again?
I did. I hopped over the ledge.
Right.
And he kept pace with me down into the street, and that's when he cut off my exit.
Now let me ask you, the first time when he came at you,
Yes.
and you were able to move,
Yes.
you were still standing there waiting on him when he put it in reverse and then came back at
No,
you?
sir,
You were still, he said, I'm gonna just wait again.
No, sir.
And I got out of the way that time, but I think I'm just gonna wait around to see what happens this time.
No, sir, it wasn't like that. It was, I moved to the side, and I kept stepping to the side, and that's when he re-angled it, and it was quick.
And what did you think you were doing by hitting the window?
I didn't even think about it. It wasn't premeditated. It was reaction, and it did stop him from trying to come at me again because he took off. And as soon as he took off, I called the police.
He's gonna say he took off because you all were attacking him.
And I do understand that's his argument.
That's
and
what
there's
it
two
was.
sides of the story.
And the problem is your side doesn't sound reasonable. If he's going that way and you're there,
Yes, sir.
then you back away.
And I did.
And if you're able to hit the driver's side, you're already out of the way.
Right, but I was cornered, Your Honor.
$1,000 for the plaintiff. You say it's his word against yours. His word makes sense. Yours does not. You could have gotten out of the way. Instead, as you say, you ram your arm through the driver's side. He's there. He has no chance of hitting you anymore because he's in the driver's side and you're right there. Only way he could hit a person is if they're in front of the car.
I was in front of the car originally.
Right, but we're not talking about originally. We're talking about the point in which you damaged his car.
Understand.
Instead of walking away or standing like that. Not only by your own admission does it sound like you could have avoided committing malicious destruction to his property, but you walked up to his car a second time, and as a result, this is what happened. Only way you could have been in danger if you were in front of his car. You can't stick your arm through somebody's driver's side window by being in front. I don't think your arm's that long. No, your arms are not that long. Judgment for the plaintiff. Have a good day.
I was accidentally placed in the same jail cell as Anthony was. Nowhere to sit. I walk in there, and he begins to tell me that I need to drop the charges because he knows where my family lives. And he rambled off my street address, which baffled me. I lied.
Dude, it's a lie, man.
And said that it was not true. Am I?
You just make stuff up, man.
Oh, it works two ways,
The whole
doesn't it?
story.
It works two ways.